Hey, what's happening, YouTube? James Hoff, thank you so much for being here. I greatly appreciate you checking out my video content. Today, we are going to be talking about some new forms and some new information regarding forms and properly filling out paperwork with respect to coronavirus and COVID-19. Some of this is more state-specific, but there is a larger general message. So regardless of whether you have new forms or not, please make sure you stick around so that you can check this out. Before we get into the heart of the content, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Post in the comments if there are any specific questions related to coronavirus or your business, you're feeling stuck or things are struggling a little bit because of it. Please make sure that you feel free to post in the comments what you would like more information about so that I can build content around that, help you answer those questions. And even if I don't have the answer, maybe help give you some ideas and insights to help you navigate whatever situation you're going through. And finally, remember, you can text me directly by joining my free texting community. That's right. It is a free texting community. Standard text messaging rates may apply for you, of course. Don't worry, I pay for the platform otherwise, but it's 949-216-5448. That's right. You can connect directly with me. I'm doing a lot of one-on-one engagement in that community, but it's also an opportunity for you to get updates, announcements, motivation, tools, tips, tricks, all that good fun stuff, a little motivation during a crazy time. Keep that mindset in a positive place. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on with forms, what's going on with information. It's starting to rain again out here. I love doing these videos outside. It's just like so much more fun than in the office. So I'm in the state of California. I am an agent. For those of you who don't know, I'm in my 8th year. I teach from the trenches. I am still practicing. I have active transactions going right now. I've got several clients I'm working with. I've got all kinds of chaos happening too. So I'm coming from, I'm speaking from like from an active agent perspective. I'm not just like blowing smoke on this. We have a new form in California. It's the coronavirus addendum. And while some of you may not have such a thing in your state, I want you to follow the logic for just a couple of minutes. There's a lot of people out there that have been really concerned about moving forward. Let's talk first about people that are in transactions, and then we'll get to people who were shopping but are no longer or not in transactions and no longer interested. We have a lot of people in transactions that were getting concerned because they felt like, my gosh, like I'm in the middle of escrow. All of a sudden we have the coronavirus like thing going on, and people are getting furloughed or laid off from their job or told to work from home. There's a lot of disruption. Paychecks aren't coming in, or certain things aren't as consistent as they were before. There's a lot of like question marks on how certain things can be done. Parents are being asked to homeschool now, and like, you know, schools are shutting down. Like, it's just a lot of craziness happening, right? We'll stay out of the politics of it for the time being. But then the question becomes like, what happens if somebody's in the middle of escrow and they want to cancel because of the coronavirus and the uncertainty and all these things? So this addendum that the California Association of Realtors came out with, and by the way, before I go any further, I am not giving you any legal advice. You need to check with your local and state laws and your broker and all the appropriate parties where you are to figure this out. I'm not telling you how to fill the form out. I'm just talking about their existence and why I'm happy about them, and why I think you should push for that in your area or your broker, whatever. So here's the deal. The coronavirus addendum basically allows people, both buyers and sellers, protects both parties, also protects some earnest money, but protects the parties that are in the middle of a transaction if they want to add this addendum in that says, hey, buyer, listen, if something happens to you specifically because of this coronavirus that causes you to not be able to play ball with this with this transaction, then we'll let you out, right? And so what it does is it takes and answers like some of those ambiguous questions, like, well, what happens if, right? So if you add this addendum in, it gives that opportunity to provide clarity and help people stay protected. What it also does is it gives some assurance that if you just need some time to navigate, but perhaps like you don't want to cancel the deal, there's a way in this addendum that in California you can have an opportunity to get more time to learn. You can have more time to transact. You can have more time to ultimately close the deal. I'm sorry, I'm watching we're having like a sun shower right now, and I'm watching the droplets of rain come in. I'm trying to make sure it stays off the computer so I'm not zapped over here. Anyway, so So what if you're not in the state of California? What if you don't have this addendum? What if you don't have any addendum? Like, what do you do? Well, in the middle of a transaction, it's nice because it can bring some certainty and it can bring some confirmation and some clarity on things that maybe were a little bit, unclear before. I think what it does for people that are not in a transaction, in my experience thus far, has added a sense of security. Now, there's a couple of people out there that have kind of disagreed on this, and they say, no, it's ridiculous because you add a form about it, and then people panic because why is this such a big deal that we need more paperwork and all that? Here's why it's a big deal. Because in a contract, we go off of what's black and white, right? So God forbid we were in a position where we had to get in front of a judge and like have the judge sort it all out. The very first thing the judge is going to do is look at the paper, and they're going to sort through everything, and they're going to go, okay, well, this is what the contract says, so how are we doing with that? And if we look at some of the documentation, if we look at some of the verbiage, if you don't have it, why you should be pushing to get something like this from your broker, from your broker's attorney, from your state attorneys, from your board, like whoever's making the forms for you. You guys should really be pushing for some of this stuff, because what we want to do in a contract is remove any ambiguity. What happens if, right? There's usually this is how we expect things to go, but if this happens, then that happens, right? So like if this happens, that is the consequence. If that happens, then this is the consequence, right? So these forms are helping remove ambiguity. But here's what it's also doing for those who are not in a transaction. I found that my clients are actually more excited to continue their shopping, to continue looking at properties, to continue writing offers, and to re-engage with the market now that this addendum exists. And I think you guys might have the same type of experience if you're in a place where people are feeling a bit stuck, because what the addendum does is reassures people that, hey, there's a normal loan contingency in place, right? But it allows people to go through an entire transaction to remove all of their contingencies. But if something out of the blue, unexpected happens, and some dude who works in, I don't know, at a restaurant or a grocery store, and then all of a sudden the grocery store like can't sustain business. I don't know why a food store couldn't sustain business during the coronavirus, but my point is God forbid something unexpected happened. That's a terrible example, but God forbid something unexpected happened and that person is no longer able to qualify for that mortgage, or is no longer able to complete the transaction due to something that came about from the coronavirus. Then it helps them get out of the deal without consequence. And buyer and seller alike, right? And so I think that there's a special thing with that, but it also provides that extension I was talking about before. So in the addendum we have at California Association of Realtors, it gives by default an extra 30 days. But what's cool is, for me, I tell the buyers, don't worry if something happens, you have extra time to figure it out, as long as we can all agree that this addendum should be added as part of the contract. So I'm happy about it. I think it takes some of the fear away. Guys, where ambiguity exists, so does fear. And anytime that we have the opportunity to create clarity around things, we can remove a level of fear. And what I want to make sure you understand is that doesn't mean that because we provide clarity that somebody's all of a sudden for sure going to step back into the market. But at least they can make a more educated and assertive decision, and a more comfortable decision about it because of that, right? Because they have information. And real estate, we're not, we so often look at ourselves as just salespersons. And in my opinion, we are consultants before anything, and then facilitators next, right? Because we facilitate transactions and we facilitate negotiations for other people who want to transact together. But we facilitate those negotiations based on consultation that we provide to the client. And if you can remove any ambiguity from that, then your consultations will become a lot more productive. So in summary, the big picture is, if you guys don't have these forms available through your state or local boards or through your brokerage yet, then I would ask that or encourage you to maybe reach out and see if that's something they're considering. And if not, well, I don't know what to tell you, but I would see if that might be able to help. Maybe your brokerage is already working on stuff. I've seen a lot of things floating around online. I'm very happy to have it out here. I think it provides a lot of security. and a lot of clarity, which is beneficial. But the short summary is this: if you're in the middle of a transaction, it can really help people. And if you have people that have stalled on their desire to transact, it may tip them back over the edge, not because all of a sudden the world is well and everything's perfect and the world is back together the way that we want, but it takes a piece of the uncertainty away, and it allows people to not be as paranoid or afraid. Now, it doesn't mean that just because the form exists that everybody who had any kind of nerves should just jump back into a transaction. It still may not be right for them, and that's what I really want you to understand. But I think this gives people a lot more comfort in reapproaching the market if they temporarily stalled, but they were really hoping to buy and all that kind of stuff. So it takes some of that ambiguity away. People move forward. We're all good. All right, I'm done kicking the dead dog. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I greatly appreciate you. YouTube, you're amazing. And remember, you can join my texting community at 949-216-5448. Shoot me a message and add yourself to my contacts. Again, 949-216-5448. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button on that side or on that side or in the middle or up top or wherever the heck the subscribe button is. Hit the bell so that you can get alerts when I post new content. If there's anything that you are enjoying that you want more of or more answers on, or anything that you're stuck with and you're like, James, can you do a video about this? Post it in the comments below so that I can stay engaged and interact with you. Thank you so much for being here. Tell your friends we're around. I love you guys. You're the best. Remember something. You want to make it, you got to work. Real agents work. Be one of them. Catch you soon.